Hey, this is Gus and Ryan from Achievement Hunter.
This is Gus.
Okay, that's Gus.
You're Ryan.
I'm Ryan. And this is in World of Tanks. Hey, yeah, it's coming out for some other platforms soon, but for right now, you can check it out on the PC.
For free.
For free.
Yes.
It's got another one of those microtransaction kind of supported titles, but you can actually, I've played through it for a little while now. You get a lot of levels up very quickly for the in-game currency.
Yeah.
You don't really have to spend any money.
Yeah, you get in-game and in-game experience, and it allows you to unlock different tiers and different classes of tanks as you go on. I've been playing this game for quite a while. I really like it, which is, I guess, maybe why you invited me here.
We should say, what is World of Tanks?
It's, like I said, a free-to-play MMO that just has, I guess, relatively large-scale tank battles. So it's two teams either vying to capture each other's bases or destroy all the tanks on the enemy teams.
And it's usually like a one-life setup, right?
Right.
So
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Once you're eliminated, that's it. You're out.
So it's very tactical. It's also got tank classes. So it's sort of like your FPSs, but with tanks.
Right.
You've got there's like a sniper class.
So there's different classes of tanks,
Uh-huh.
and then on top of that, there's different tiers of tanks. I believe they go from 1 to 10 tier-wise, and of course, the higher the tier, the better the tank. And then I think the classes or the vehicles are like light, medium, heavy, tank destroyer, and then
the self-propelled gun.
That's it.
Which is the
gun.
artillery.
Yes.
And yeah, I think I've played one of each. The sniper class just has you can zoom in and has a much more powerful single shot. Your light tanks are good for scouting around and getting behind the enemy really quickly. Medium obviously is just for general duty, and then the heavies are the slower fighter defender kind of types.
The way I play, I really prefer the medium tanks because I feel like it's a decent amount of firepower and speed. It's not the fastest, it's not the strongest, but it's a good compromise between them. And then normally what I like to do is I hide in the bushes. So that's another thing that's actually kind of interesting about this game is the way enemy detection works. Is you have a radio, and you can upgrade all the parts in your tanks. So you have a radio. And the radio allows you, it has like a certain amount of power and a certain amount of distance. If another player within your radio distance sees an enemy and they have a radio that can reach you, you know what your ally sees. So it's like you have to kind of spread out your allies.
Make a loose net.
Right, have a network. That way everyone can pass the information about what enemies they see. And then cover, what I was going to start to say initially was cover plays a big deal into it. So, like, you can take a tank, and if there's enough, leaves or trees around, you can kind of hide in them and don't move, and don't make any noise, and you wait for enemies to come by and shoot them in the back.
I guess that's a good thing to point out, too, is that there's an upgrade tree for all of this stuff. There's a tech tree for both your tank and for the crew of your tank.
Yes.
Which they can both level up and get things that'll add bonuses to your ability to camouflage and your speed, shooting ability, any of that kind of thing.
Yeah, so I mean that's a big deal. Is it's not like an FPS where you're just shooting off a ton of rounds. It's like you fire your cannon, and then depending on your crew and your tank, you might have to wait 4 or 5 seconds before you can fire again. So it's like you really got to hope you nail it.
And there's traversal time on the turret, and then as you're moving, obviously you've got a wider chance of hitting down to a narrow as you come to a complete stop. So it's really interesting, really detailed. It's very pretty too.
Yeah,
the graphics on it are pretty solid.
Great looking game. One of the things, so I want to go back to something else we mentioned earlier. So we mentioned it's a one life kind of thing. One of the things I do like is if you do die early on in the match, you can return to your garage, and that tank that's dead in that match stays out of commission while that match is still going on, but you can play on one of your other tanks that you have in your garage.
Right, yeah, you can just you keep a stable of, I think, 10, I think. You can keep purchasing more slots. I'm not sure what the cap is. But you can have several tanks and then continue to just play. You don't have to wait on them to finish. You still get credit for finishing the game.
Right, it's not like you abandoned it.
Right, yeah. It's fine to just move on. However, if you've invested a lot in one tank, you gotta kind of wait for it.
I normally keep 2 or 3 just in case things aren't going well.
Usually they're not that long of a match, though.
Nah.
I mean, I think most of the ones I've jumped into have a hard limit of like 15 minutes, I think.
Yeah, and that would be a really long game.
That's if the timer runs out.
Yeah.
Usually it's over well before that.
Yeah, I'd say on average, I think in my experience, most games are like 8 to 9 minutes maybe.
Yeah.
Somewhere around that neighborhood.
There's a couple other game types, so I think it's all basically centered around that same kind of gameplay of. I think the different game types are essentially just how your team is split up. More
exactly.
So than actual.
And if you're like partied up with friends.
Right.
Whatnot.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun.
Yep. So that's World of Tanks. You can download it now. Just go to the worldoftanks.com. And you can download and play it for free.
For free.
And it will be coming out to consoles later, like I said, but you can check it out now and see if you want to play it when it gets there.
Just learn all the maps, that way you have a leg up.
Yeah. Also, if you are like this kind of gameplay, but you're interested in a different kind of vehicle, they also have another game called World of Warplanes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you've played that a little bit.
It's a very similar concept. It's just two teams of planes, and the same kind of deal. Your plane has a tech tree. You really don't have a crew necessarily. I haven't played that one as much. I just started playing that one fairly recently, so I can't speak as in depth on it. But it's pretty fun too.
All right, yeah. So check those out, and we'll have a link in the description. Thanks.